New York City, invented in 1625 by Peter Wall when he bought it for about $7 from the local native populace. The city today has an estimated total value of over $1.3 trillion. That's a return of about $3.3 billion every year on his investment, making Peter the most savvy investor in the history of finance. Warren Buffett? More like Baron Bank Account? Fuck. With his vast knowledge on the art of commerce, Peter established this new city as the heart of the business of finessing people out of all their valuable belongings, otherwise known as financial services. The city grew rapidly around the eponymous Wall Street because wherever there's a bag to secure, there's people who want to join in the competition to secure as much of it as possible. Peter Wall's influence can still be felt to this day. His own personal street has become synonymous with America's financial markets as a whole, and his pet bull, which has been taxidermied and coated in bronze, stands at the edge of Bowling Green Park. And thanks to the curiosity of a man who was later charged with unlawful possession of a banjo, it was revealed that the inside of the bull is hollowed out save for the mummified corpse of Peter Wall. A powerful and shiny facade revealed to be nothing but cold, hollow, and decrepit on the inside. Yes, the charging bull truly is the perfect representation of the finance industry. Here's a fun fact about New York City. I was inside of it about 2 weeks ago. Now I know what you're thinking. Wow, that YouTube ad revenue must really be hitting if you can afford to take a trip to New York just on a whim like that. To which I say, I spent half the trip in New Jersey, relax. Besides, it wasn't even my idea to come here. The boys decided I need some fresh air, and what air could be more fresh than that within the most densely populated city in America, with more concrete than... I can't think of anything with more concrete than New York. All we did down there was eat sushi, buy shoes, and hit golf balls, all things we could have done just as easily back in Toronto, but the boys were concerned that with my wiry frame, a stray gust of wind would carry me off and I would use my natural aviation skills to fly back to my den. So I spent a few days before the trip researching the city, trying to figure out if there's anywhere I could catch a tailwind strong enough to fly at least back to the border, and while doing that I thought, hey, content. So there I was, New York City, the Big Apple, the city of dreams, but also the city that never sleeps, so it's the city of some kind of never-ending conscious nightmare. It's like a real-life Gotham. If you're there, you're either a tourist, a billionaire, or someone with at least 2 jobs who's so far behind on rent and bill payments, you're ready to fucking rage at the drop of a dime. Thankfully, I fall under the first category, so I was just an intrigued bystander in all the going-ons of the city. And believe you me, there are many ons that are certainly going in New York. This place is so significant for so many different reasons. It's the birthplace of hip-hop, air conditioning, Italians, and baseball. It's one of the few places on Earth with the facilities necessary to house the most powerful skeletons, protecting the general populace from their bony wrath. It's one of the few places on Earth with the facilities necessary to house the most powerful pedophiles, protecting the general populace from their bony wrath. And in such a significant place, both historically and culturally, I had many questions about the city, and I decided to walk the path of the Banjo Man and seek the answers myself during my time there. The first one I had is more of a general question about all of America, not just New York. Fuck toll booths! Sorry, that wasn't really a question. The name New York City implies the existence of an old York City. I asked every cab, Uber, golf, and rickshaw driver if they had heard of such a place, but none of them were very open to conversation. So pondering it on my own time in my hotel room, I recalled hearing about a North York City, somewhere in the upper reaches of Toronto, and we did pass through a place called West York City, which was in the state of New Jersey, but also in the New York metropolitan area, which spreads across 4 states, most of which aren't New York. Yes, finally things were starting to make sense. Somewhere out there exists East York City, South York City, and the one I'm hoping to find, Old York City. I imagine East is somewhere in Asia, South must be in either South America or Africa, leaving only Europe or Antarctica as the places that could be home to Old York City. I already booked a cruise from Toronto to Antarctica for me and the boys, so soon enough I'll be one step closer to solving this first mystery. Another, much more interesting question I sought to answer was how many rat kings are in New York, and just how big is the largest rat king? Unfortunately, subway workers frowned upon me walking down the tunnels or attempting to crawl through the spaces where I might have better luck in locating a rat king, so instead I had to run some numbers, take my best guess. On average, I saw 3 rats at each subway stop I was at. Now, if I know my Dark Souls lore, for every rat you can see, there's at least 1,400 that you can't. So, you take 3 rats per subway station, that's 1,416 seeable rats, multiply that by 1,400 to get the unseeable rats, 1,982,400 rats, which leaves us with a total just under 2 million rats. You know what, fuck it, let's just add the remainder. I think it was a slow weekend. I feel like only 3 rats per subway station is a little low. So, 2 million rats. If we use a normal distribution of intelligence, let's say the bottom 16% are rats that are... what's the scientific term for it? Fucking stupid. Meaning they are prone to getting their tails all stuck together, That means there are probably 320,000 rats who make up part of a rat king. Now, obviously, it's unlikely all 320,000 of them are in one massive rat king. I didn't see a category of rats anywhere in the city during my time there, so I think we can rule that out. No, the common rat king contains 10 rats, meaning there is likely 32,000 rat kings in New York. But of course, not every rat king is 10 rats large, many are likely as small as 2. But how big do the biggest ones get? How many rats can you tie together before the laws of physics start to break down? I don't know. I don't have the tools, ability, or time, or care to find out either. So let's just say there are 40 rats in New York's largest rat king, and leave it at that. Sitting just above the rats, the dominant species in New York City is people. This caused a grand concern for me. Let me explain. The population of Toronto is a little under 3 million, and the traffic there makes me want to end the lives of as many baby seals as I can get my hands on. And I've never been to LA, but they have a population of about 4 million, and the traffic there, from what I've heard, is akin to a colony of sloths traveling through a sea of molasses in the middle of winter, and all the sloths have been dead for 2 months. So upon finding out that New York City has a population of 8 million, I figured that what they had was less of streets and roads, more like long, narrow parking lots. But to my shock, that wasn't how it be. Unless you're driving near somewhere with an unholy amount of foot traffic, the cars seem to flow quite well. It was never as frustrating inducing as sitting in a Kia Soul staring at the same high-rise for 40 minutes, a fairly common occurrence in Toronto. This makes no sense to me. The only explanation is that there is some underground transportation system carrying a mass number of the population where they need to go. A hidden secret system of tunnels built just under the city to ease the movement of a select few who know about them, like in Assassin's Creed or some shit. The entrances would have to be inconspicuously hidden in plain sight, built right into the fabric of the society. Oh, it's the... Right, yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Alright, another mystery solved. You know, it was actually kind of sad that I was in New York when I was. The whole mood of the city was quite sour, and I needed to find out why. Sure, many tragedies have taken place in New York City. It's ground zero of the housing market collapse, the 70s, the time everything was on fire, that time everything was on fire again, that time everything was on fire for a third time. But there's one tragedy that stands above the rest, something that has left a permanent scar on the city and can never be forgotten. The Jets. Or more accurately, New York sports as a whole is actually a pretty sore spot. You'd think a city with multiple sports teams in every major sport would have something to be happy about, but no. The Yankees didn't win the World Series, the Giants and Jets suck, the Islanders and Rangers play hockey, Kevin Durant is still recovering from his injury at the hands of the Warriors medical staff, and the Knicks are still out there fucking playing basketball. It's like the anti-Toronto, which is nothing but obnoxious, rampant optimism. Here it's just apathetic melancholy. It makes me sick. I don't like it when my surroundings are sadder than me. It makes me feel like an asshole for being upset about whatever petty bullshit is bothering me. Oh, woe is me, another day without getting my dick wet. Meanwhile, the city of New York hasn't had a championship in almost a decade. Like, yeah, we're both going through a drought, but I'm just one incel. There's 8 million people here being let down every single day. Me and the Buys left before the city could fully infect us with its sad vibes, which is unfortunate. There were many more questions I still needed answers to, such as which borough is the best? Why is Ellis Island like that? Why do they use their rivers as airport runways? Who killed Big L? Who killed Jeffrey Epstein?
What's up, guys? It's your boy Mr. Informed here, just letting you know that I've decided to shut down my YouTube channel and erase any evidence of my existence as a whole. Alright, well, see you never, I guess. And now a word from some of my patrons. Azcodal. Aitzcodal. PSA, growing up in NYC still doesn't mean you're allowed to say the N-word. Just hope that you're born black when you respawn in approximately 60 to 80 years. Durkinator 90210. Harambe is still dead, but I still think about it. I don't know. Keep up the good work. Epstein's death wasn't a suicide. Kilogallon. Kilogallon or kilogallon? Kilogallon. New York? What's wrong with Old York? Really? Really? This is fucked. Lord Hugenot. Never trust the NYPD. Not even once. They'll stalk your sorry ass down like vultures, and boy, if you play your cards wrong, you're gonna feel like Call Me Carson when Joe Swanson comes in with a wooden bat and be assaulted like that scene from SpongeBob SquarePants when those fish police officers assaulted that poor old parking sign and have your bloody corpse turned into a bear mat. In fact, never trust any police just to be safe. This message is sponsored by the McPee Pants Foundation. Thank you, Base God. Karami-san. Fun fact, it was at one point in time illegal for British fishermen to stay in Newfoundland over the winter before we were a real colony because it's too fucking cold here and the Navy had to keep rescuing people. The real young cashew. Personally, as an Italian American and also a New Yorker, I would like to apologize in advance for if this man tries the accent, which I know he will. I'm walking here.